Gears of War executive producer Laura Fryer recently explained why AAA games are in trouble in wake of Dragon Age the Veilguard's seemingly financial and commercial disaster. Roll this up over at phantompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. Head on over, become a paid subscriber. It costs less than a Starbucks coffee, just $5 a month, and you get to support us fighting back against this woke ideology that is destroying AAA gaming. So Fryer uploaded a video to her YouTube channel titled Games Industry Bubble. If you're not familiar with her, she was the executive producer on Gears of War, as well as the VP and general manager for The Lord of the Rings War in the North, as well as Guardians of Middle-earth. She was a VP general manager over at WB Games, and then obviously worked with Xbox and Microsoft for on the Gears of War franchise. She's worked on a couple of other things too, Zootopia, etc. Some of the, I think, not Zootopia, I think it's like Zoo Tycoon or something like that. So she's a veteran of the video game industry, has been working in the industry since the 90s. She does a really good job explaining here why AAA games are in trouble. And this is kind of her conclusion right here. She says, when people ask me why AAA games are in trouble, this is it. Because they're not reflecting on what they could do better. Instead, they're attacking the people that they want to sell their games to. It is not a winning strategy. We see this time and time and time again. Just look at the recent stuff with Dragon Age the Veilguard, which I did include here. Later on in this article, the game director, who is a man pretending to be a woman, calls himself Corrine Bush, recently did an interview with Inverse, declaring that he is the conqueror of haters. Inverse did. Inverse's Hayes Madsen declared that. Matt Veilguard was subject to a hate campaign. This is what Madsen wrote. In the immediate future, the studio has faced a different problem, a hate campaign that's put Veilguard at the center of a kind of culture war on social media, along with plenty of hateful comments toward developers and review bombing on sites like Metacritic. BioWare, Bush, they know exactly what they're going to get when they go to someone like Hayes Madsen. They know that he's going to write this. This is a coordinated effort to attack the gamers that refuse to buy their game. And you think that they're going to buy more copies or sell more copies of this game by attacking the people you want to buy the game? It is a losing strategy, as Laura Fryer says. And I think Ubisoft is going to find that out too. Obviously, we've documented this guy, Mark Alexis Cote. He's the executive producer for Assassin's Creed Shadows. He ran to the New York Times back in, I think it was September, declaring that his team is going to be doubling down on its much criticized DEI agenda. So much that DEI agenda that was mocked and derided by Elon Musk, where he simply said DEI kills art. This is the guy who admitted to, I forget what it was, former Kotaku guy. He's got some, I think he's got his own site now, GameFile, I think is what it's called, that he was mentally broken by Elon Musk because of those three words right there. And then he went on to say, if there's a hill that I'm willing to die on, it is defending the creative freedom of our teams. And he said that to the New York Times. He says, we share your passion for history and deeply respect your care for the historical and cultural integrity of your rich heritage. From its inception, the series has taken creative license and incorporated fantasy elements to craft engaging and immersive experiences. The representation of Yasuke in our game is an illustration of this. So total gaslighting there towards the fans. I mean, he goes on and does this lengthy appearance at a BAFTA event that someone at Eurogamer attended and they reported on, and he basically talks about people pushing back against the game are driven by intolerance. I mean, this is literally what he says. Our community helps us grow, evolve, and deliver better games. Today, we all, however, face the added challenge of distinguishing between genuine feedback and attacks driven by intolerance. The current climate is tough on our creative teams. They face lies, half-truths, and personal attacks online. So you can see these people are doubling down on this agenda. They're still pushing it. I mean, this is literally, I think, just after Star Wars Outlaws bombed, and they're still coming out and saying all of this stuff. This is right around the time when they're about to delay the game to February, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and they're spending another 20 million euros on it, which I think they're not even going to recover that. There's absolutely no way. And they're going to pay. They're going to pay. And that's what's happening. I mean, these are just two examples. You can look at Concord, right? They were attacking the fans constantly, saying that they weren't even acknowledging it as well. And what happened? The game was shut down less than 2 weeks, and then the entire studio was announced to be shut down within a month. There's so many different examples. So many layoffs have been happening this year. $200 million loss. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. The examples are numerous, right? Numerous. It's not a winning strategy, as Laura Fryer says. She then kind of uses this metaphor of the Plato's allegory of the cave, and she says it's where people only see what is on the wall in front of them. They don't see that there is a fire behind them and puppets that are creating the images that they see on the wall. What they're seeing isn't real, and if only they would turn around and walk into the light, they would know the truth. They would be able to change. It's hard, but they made the cave. They made the fake reality. They can turn around at any time, and I, for one, hope they do, because I really want more great games. She's absolutely right. These people have created this cave. They've created this bubble. They don't allow actually any real criticism in it. I've said this multiple times. They are at war with reality because they've created their fake reality. Thomas Sowell talks about this in a fantastic book, Conflict of Visions. He obviously uses it from a more political angle, but this is exactly kind of what we're seeing here within the video game industry and entertainment at large, right? And then she goes on and explains how they built this cave, right? This fake reality, this bubble that they have. And she says that game studios originally wanted to promote their game, so they created these relationships with game journalists. Game journalists saw it as a way to kind of build their own reputation, maybe ingratiate themselves with Hollywood, etc. And so they were brought in. It was all well managed. It was all well curated. It helped them get shelf space at retail. It helped them sell games, right? And then this obviously evolved to influencers and content creators on YouTube. We just saw this recently with Star Wars Outlaws. They were still trying to basically buy off these people, taking them over to Disneyland, wining and dining them, etc., trying to get the best previews they possibly could. I mean, they were clearly, obviously, potentially working with third parties to pay YouTubers as well to promote the game and pre-order the game. We saw that based on a report out of Germany, where a YouTuber talked about how they were indeed working with a third party to push a preview order or a pre-order link for the game. So obviously, we know this is happening. And Fryer explains the playbook was the same: cultivate a relationship with the most popular streamers and YouTube personalities that love your game and pull them into the bubble. However, she noted this stopped working because the bubble prevented real feedback from penetrating it. When you're in a bubble or an echo chamber where no real feedback gets through, it's easy to make bad choices. It's easy to believe the friendly journalists when they tell you what a genius you are and how great your game is. You stop seeing what the gamers are actually playing. You stop understanding what they want. You stop listening because all you hear is how awesome you are. And I didn't include this in this article, but I've obviously documented Ubisoft's Mark Alexis Cote. He did this interview where it was like he made an appearance at this conference a couple months ago, and he literally admitted he has no idea where the players are. He doesn't know what they're playing. He doesn't know how to reach them. He said this all publicly out in the open. So he clearly lives in a bubble, and he doesn't want to face the reality. And we saw that in that interview or in that BAFTA speech that he gave, where he's lashing out at the people giving him valid criticism that actually want him to make a good Assassin's Creed game. But he can't do that because he is captured by the DEI agenda that Ubisoft promotes within its company. He can't see anything outside of that. He's going to pay, and they're going to pay. Ubisoft is going to pay. They're going to pay big time. Anyways, Fryer goes on and points to Dragon Age Veilguard. She says it took over 6 years to make that game, and that is very expensive even before you start talking about the marketing. This means you're going to have to sell a lot of copies, and that means you're going to appeal to as many people as possible. There's no question that some people like the game, and that's great, but it's looking like it won't be enough. And I have concerns that this will lead to more layoffs. Also, as a gamer, I have no problem with game developers taking risks with their content. Who doesn't love innovation? But that doesn't mean I'll buy your game. There's many games I like and many that I don't. And that's the beauty and challenge of working in the games industry. Sometimes you will make something that you think is good and people don't love it. She actually references the Lord of the Rings game, War in the North, and that was a commercial failure. There's a clip that she plays in the video noting how it came out like right before Skyrim and basically crushed the game. And that was not a commercial success for her. Sometimes you'll make something you think is good and people don't love it. I was proud of every single game I shipped, but not all of them had commercial success, and it was frustrating. But I didn't blame the gamers for that. Instead, I tried to look back. I tried to self-reflect. What did we do well on this game? What could we have done better? Why didn't this work out? And as the leader of a studio or a game, I always looked at myself first. Gaming is entertainment. People aren't forced to buy your message or your game. Holding back user reviews for a few days only buys you a few days. Eventually, the truth comes out. Eventually, people notice that you aren't delivering fun games, and they stop giving you money. So, really good analysis from Laura Fryer here, a veteran of the video game industry. She's clearly able to see outside of this bubble that many of these AAA studios have created and is able to recognize what one of the major problems they are facing is. And that is obviously that they are attacking their own people or they're attacking the people they want to sell games to. And those people aren't buying the games because they're being attacked. Like, why would you purchase a game from someone who literally hates you and wants to destroy you? She also obviously points to the bloated budgets that these games have as well in her analysis there. So I think she did a really, really good job. I highly recommend watching the full video. She does a good job kind of talking about how the relationship between games journos and developers was cultivated and grew over the years and was clearly kind of a not a parasitic relationship, but it's one of mutual benefit. I'm blanking on the term for that right now. So I'm sure someone will remind me in the comments on what that is. But they were trying to grow their own brands together. Obviously, the access that the journalists get, the shelf space, the praise, the endorsement, etc., that the developers get, and the sales too, right? Hopefully getting potential sales from all of that. But that has changed. That has changed because we have seen through a lot of what they're doing. They're not making fun games anymore. They are attacking us, and we are saying, no, enough is enough. Laura Fryer, recognizing this, pointing it out, a massive, massive warning to all of these companies from a veteran of the games industry. Will they listen? I don't think so. I do not think they will listen. I think we see a lot of evidence of that with the BioWare, with the Ubisoft people. Now, I do think there are some people that will listen. I think we've already kind of seen some evidence of that. I think you're seeing this coming from smaller, more nimble developers. Saber Interactive, we're seeing that. I think Thomas Mahler with what's his game called? No Rest for the Wicked. I think you're going to see that from them. I think that is where the future of the video game industry is going to go. It's going to go to the people that do take her advice, that do recognize the problems of AAA, going to address it, going to move forward, and they're going to create the great games. And I think we're going to continue to see studios get shut down. Long-time studios like Volition will be shut down. Ubisoft already on the brink. Will not be surprised if BioWare goes that way as well. These storied studios, because they have failed to recognize what their customers want, they will fail. And that is what is going to happen. That is my prediction, at least. Let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.